Beep. I'm not really sure how to start these things. My wife kept a diary for years and she says that it's easiest to just say hello, so hello, I guess. The reason that I'm starting on this diary is that I want to be sure I'm not going insane. So let's just start with yesterday, November 24th, 2014. My family and I just moved into our new house about 2 weeks ago. We wanted to get away from the city and all the noises, so we decided to move out to the countryside. It's a beautiful place. We have a nice big garden surrounded by trees, and there's about half a mile to the nearest neighbor. I know, a real classic horror house. But as I said earlier, a real beauty. My daughter goes to school in the city. I drive her there every morning, and my wife is an author, so she works from home. Yesterday I drove Cindy, my daughter, to school, and then I went off to work. I left again to pick up Cindy at around 3 p.m. and I work as a carpenter. We drove home and Cindy ran into the house, but as I opened the front door I noticed there was something hanging on the door. A mirror. A big, round, dusty mirror. I went inside and yelled for Catherine, my wife. Nobody responded. I then went upstairs to Cindy's room, but she wasn't there. For some reason there was shattered glass all over the floor in Cindy's room. I picked it all up and threw it out in the trash, which is right outside the entrance. I thought that Catherine was probably in the garden and Cindy had just run out to her, but as I approached the front door again, the mirror was gone. I started to feel a bit lightheaded. I remember thinking that I was probably getting a migraine attack. I get those sometimes. But then I opened the door to the sound of the TV and the smell of chicken. I walked into the living room and there was Cindy, sitting on the couch, watching some kids show on the TV. Catherine was standing in the kitchen and cooking chicken. I asked her where she'd been a couple of seconds ago and she said, "Right here, sweetie. What were you doing out there? Cindy said you got home an hour ago." You know when you hear a loud sound that you didn't expect and your skin starts to itch a little bit? This was exactly like that. Cindy walked up to me and gave me a drawing that she'd made in school. It was of Catherine and me kissing. Of course I thought that both of them were just pranking me, so I just thanked Cindy for the drawing and acted like nothing had happened at all. I didn't want them to get any satisfaction from scaring the shit out of me. But then today, when I got home with Cindy, the mirror was hanging on the door again. But this time, there was a tiny fracture on the side of it. But here's where odd gets creepy. When I got close to the mirror, I could hear a sound coming from within it. It was so faint, but almost like a beeping sound. I asked Cindy if she knew where Mom had bought the mirror. She looked at me with those innocent 10-year-old eyes and said, "What mirror?" And then she ran back into the house. At this point, I still thought this was just a prank, so I started to laugh. I mean, it was a pretty good prank. But then I went into the house again. This time, the shattered glass was all over the house. I shouted to Catherine that I knew it was a prank and that it was dangerous to leave glass on the floor like that. But there was no answer. I didn't think it was funny anymore. It had been a long day and I was tired. So I went upstairs to confront them. Nobody there. Then I went down into the basement. Nobody there either. Then I went into the garden and all the way at the end of it, I could see a truck. It was a large Red Bull truck. And it was just standing there. I had no idea why, but then I heard my car turn on. I thought somebody was trying to rob it, so I ran back into the house and out the front door, but the car wasn't even turned on. I started to get angry now. I thought that Catherine was taking it too far. But just as I was about to storm into the house, the mirror was gone again. This time I didn't fall for it. I went around the house and jumped over a fence so that I could look into the living room from the garden. The truck was gone. But there they were again. Cindy in the sofa watching TV and Catherine in the kitchen, cooking chicken. It started to flicker before my eyes. It always does that right before I get a migraine. I went back around the house and walked in through the front door. I caught myself asking Catherine where they'd been a couple of seconds ago. But then she replied the same thing again. Right here, sweetie. What were you doing out there? Cindy said you got home an hour ago. I just stood there, looking at Catherine. But then Cindy walked over to me. She handed me a drawing. It was a drawing of me and Catherine kissing. The same drawing as yesterday. You gotta understand that I have no fucking clue what's going on here. All I know is that the date on my phone says it's still November 24th, 2014, and that Catherine is laying right next to me at this very second, sleeping. And I have no idea what to expect or what is going to happen when I fall asleep. But I'll see you tomorrow or whatever. I put down the little red diary that I had taken from Catherine's moving boxes. There was a bunch of drawings on the first couple of pages, but it's better than nothing. I feel like I need to write this down. It helps. My eyes were getting heavy. Really heavy. So really heavy. I woke up, looked at my phone. 7 a.m. November 24th, 2014. Anger. I felt anger and despair. I took a long shower and walked downstairs. Cindy was ready to go to school, but then it hit me. Hey Cindy, let's not go to school today, okay? Let's just stay home with Mom and eat ice cream and watch a movie. Cindy threw the backpack and gave me a long, tight hug. We spent the entire day watching all of Harry Potter and eating ice cream. I forgot all about the diary in the past couple of days. I just went to bed like a happy little boy. I had an odd dream that night. I dreamt that I was driving and that Cindy was dancing in the seat next to me. I dreamt that I lost focus and just as a large Red Bull truck hit us, I woke up with a very bad migraine. I was very dazed when I woke up. I just put on some clothes, grabbed a cup of coffee, and drove Cindy to school. It wasn't until I parked the car in the driveway of our house again and Cindy rushed out of the car that it hit me. Cindy was wearing the same clothes as she was wearing yesterday. And the day before that, and the day before that. I started to panic. I took my phone out of my pocket and turned the screen on. I didn't want to look. I slowly turned the phone around and then I saw it. November 24th, 2014. The date had not changed. I closed my eyes. I turned my head so that I was facing the door. I opened them, and there it was again. That dirty, disgusting mirror made me feel sick. Half of it was broken, as if someone knew exactly where to hit it so that the entire right side would remain intact. I ran upstairs and grabbed the little red diary. Please, please still be there. Please. But it was blank. All blank. As if I had never written anything in it. My head hurt. It felt like bugs was running around in my brain. Biting, scratching, eating. Then I heard it. A beeping sound, faint but constant. I tried to localize it, but it was as if it came from within the mirror. My heart started to beat very fast. Too fast. Way too fast. I felt dizzy, nauseous. My vision was darkening, my hands were sweating, my fingers were cold, and just as I hit the ground, I woke up in a bed. A hospital bed. A bright light hurt my eyes. I tried to look around and saw a familiar face. Catherine was sitting right next to me, reading a book titled How to Cope. She looked so sad. "Catherine," I said with a dry voice. She looked at me. Her face didn't look so sad anymore. My head was still fuzzy. I could see her mouth move, but I couldn't hear anything. It was as if there was no sounds in the world. She ran out of the room. "No, stay here, Catherine," I mumbled. She returned with two men in white coats. They injected me with something and I started to hear again. It felt like they just released one of those ear jams you get on planes. "Catherine?" My voice was getting lower and lower each time I spoke. "I'm here, honey. I'm here. Are you alright?" She looked so concerned. "What's going on?" The light was still too sharp for my eyes to see clearly. "You've been in a coma, honey, but it's gonna be okay. You're awake now. You're finally awake." I didn't understand. Was she still pranking me? Was all this just one big prank? Because I made her move from her old job? "What do you mean, Catherine?" One of the doctors stepped closer. "You was in a car accident, sir. You've been in a coma for about 3 months." "No. Bullshit. I wasn't in any car accident. What the hell are they talking about? I need to get out. Get me out of this thing. Get me out now." My voice cracked. I started to feel faint again. I could see the doctors talking to me. I didn't understand. I didn't want to understand. I was so tired, so very tired. I closed my eyes. I woke up on the ground in front of my house. Thank God. It was just a dream. The mirror in the door was gone. I went inside. I didn't even say hello. I just went upstairs and crashed in my bed. But as I laid there, all alone, with no other sounds than my own breathing, I heard it. The beeping. Still faint, but definitely there. I tried to ignore it and went to sleep. I dreamed the same odd dream about Cindy and me driving. This time, she showed me a drawing that she had made in class. A drawing of Catherine and me kissing. It was so sweet. Cindy was the most beautiful child I'd ever seen. I looked at her face and in that very second I felt happiness. But just then, I saw as that happy little face turned into a face of fear and panic. She saw the truck. She screamed. I looked out the window. It was too late. I saw the glass shatter and the front of the car disintegrating as the truck got closer and closer. I leaned in and hugged Cindy, and just as the truck started to crush our bones, I woke up. I looked at my phone. November 24th, 2014. I went downstairs, I made some coffee, and I walked over to Cindy. I kissed her on the cheek and I told her that I loved her. We sat down on the sofa and watched some TV. But every day I still hear the beeping, waiting for me.